What's up, guys? As the name or the title suggests, I'm going to try and do like a quick condensed techno impressions video. You may hear my little puppies bark because somebody's moving in our hall, so they may bark at some noise. But going to do a quick impressions video. Going to try and keep the camera as still as possible. Not shooting on my regular camera yet, but that's coming soon. And I'm probably going to get a little makeshift tripod to keep the cell phone still while I do these cell phone videos. But Spyderco Techno, titanium frame lock, CTS-XHP steel, small knife. Going to compare it to the Sage 2 real quick just for size reference. There you go. Smaller, much smaller than the Sage 2. Spine thickness compared to Sage 2, much thicker, as you can see. Don't take that as a knife, as the knife being a bad cutter. The edge geometry, the actual edge thickness, as you can see, is very lean, extremely lean actually. As long as you're not cutting through something hard and that doesn't give much, like an apple, you won't feel much difference in between this and the Sage. Of course, slicing an apple, that thin spine thickness will give you an advantage. But if you're cutting cardboard or really anything else for that matter, rope will give you a little bit of trouble with this. But say for something like fruits and vegetables and rope, this is going to do just as good as a Para 2 or a Sage 2 due to that extremely thin edge geometry. Not the actual edge bevel, but how lean the grind is towards the edge. It is 4.5 mil thick, not 5 like I said in a previous video. Righty only, pretty much. The clip is reversible, but of course you don't have the huge cutout on the left side. The lock bar is heat treated. I know that for a fact now because it's actually marring the surface of the blade tang a little bit, as you can see. And that's really a telltale sign of having a lock face that's hardened. Normally the blade tang won't get marred unless the lock face is heat treated or carbonized in some way. Floating stop pin. The stop pin actually freely rotates. You can twist it with your finger if you can get it down in there. Going to spread out wear. Flicking the knife is not going to be a problem on this because the wear is spread out across the whole length, across the whole circumference of the stop pin. So you're not going to wear, you're not going to peen a spot into this, causing lockup to shoot over. Lockup is really early on this. It actually sits at about 50%, even though it doesn't look that way. And that's because the blade tang is not actually ground all the way to the other side. But it's perfectly fine. I'm going to try and give you a shot of the lockup. There you go. You can see about where it sits right there. There you go. Very solid. Absolutely no play horizontally or vertically. And when I say absolutely no play, I mean it. There is no wiggle, no flex, no nothing. It feels like a fixed blade when it's open. And that's very cool. Hardware is sandblasted. Of course, the blade and the slabs are stonewashed. The hardware is sandblasted, including the stop pin, but as you can see, it's getting shiny from the blade hitting it. The actual clip came sandblasted as well. Did not like the look of that. It didn't go well with a knife for me. So I took the clip off the Techno and put it on the Sage 2. To me, this clip goes better with the Techno, and the sandblasted clip goes better with the Sage 2. Really all going to come down to personal preference. They're the exact same clip, just one is sandblasted and one is not. Build quality is amazing. Made in Taichung, Taiwan. As you can see, perfectly centered blade. Absolutely dead center blade. Dead center. Very smooth action. Extremely smooth. Phosphor bronze washers. Actually, if you take the pressure off the lock bar, the blade swings freely. That's how smooth it is. The only resistance coming from this is the pressure of the lock bar and the detent ball touching the blade. Speaking of detent, it has an excellent detent. You'll never ever sling the blade out. with gravity, but it makes you flick it out really well due to that strong detent. For a small knife, the grip is excellent. As you can see, I have medium hands and I can get 4-finger grip on there. You can back up and get a 3-finger. Well, I can still kind of get a 4-finger grip. Or you can choke up and get really far up on it and you have nice control. Just a really nice knife. The build quality is amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you've ever had a Gale Bradley and you know how well that knife is made, this is no exception. The build quality is just as good. Blue backspacer, G10, CTS-XHP flat grind. Not much else to say about it in this condensed impressions video. Just an excellent knife. The only thing that I didn't like about it at first is due to its small size, it was relatively hard for me to unlock the blade because you're pressing on the lock bar and you're looking for something to situate the knife in your hand. You're looking for something to help hold the knife still while you unlock it, but I just naturally within the first day learned to grip it with my pinky and ring finger. That way I could push the lock bar over. Simple. But that's really my only complaint, is it took me a minute to get used to unlocking it. But now it's like second nature, just like any other frame lock. Flicking it out is super fast, not hard to do at all. Instead of going straight up like you normally would, because there's this piece of titanium here, I kind of go out and up. So I go just like that. Just motion like that. Instead of going straight up, I'm going out and up. Really not much different. You'll get used to it. It's not a hard knife to manipulate at all. Due to the treated lock face, I don't think you'll ever wear this lock out. If you do, Spyderco will replace it, I imagine. Just an amazing little knife. I'll put it back up against the Sage 2 and a small Sebenza, and then I will cut this short because it is just meant to be a condensed review, or a condensed impressions video. There you go. Smaller than a small Sebenza, smaller than a Sage 2. Yet you don't really sacrifice any grip. So if you're looking for a small little knife with a stout tip, something you can pry with if you need to, then this is it. This is going to be a good knife for that. Due to the short blade, even if you did pry with it, there's not a whole lot of leverage going on since you have that short blade. With a really long blade, it can really torque the pivot, of course, because you have such a long lever. But with this, I mean, you can actually grip the blade itself and pry, which is awesome. Perfect little all-around EDC that can do anything, pretty much. So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Extended review should be coming up soon. Thanks for watching. See you next time.